Hello and welcome to this session on faulty pronoun reference. A pronoun takes the place of a word known as its antecedent. The antecedent is the word before the pronoun to which the pronoun refers. To avoid confusion and promote precision, the antecedent to which a pronoun refers must be clear. Most of the time, the antecedent should be one noun only. See these following examples. John played golf for several hours yesterday. He came off the course with a terrible sunburn. In this instance, the pronoun he refers to John as the only reasonable antecedent. But now look at the second sentence. John and Bill played golf yesterday. By the end of the round, he had a terrible sunburn. The reader has no way of knowing what the antecedent of he is. Is it John who came off with a terrible sunburn, or is it Bill? When the reader has no way of knowing the antecedent for a pronoun, the writer is guilty of faulty pronoun reference. Now, most students do not make this mistake because their common sense tells them that they need to indicate the antecedent of a personal pronoun like he. However, they are more likely to make mistakes using one of a following list of vague pronouns. This, that, which, it, or they. These words are pronouns just as much as he, she, we, they are. And the same rules apply. That is, when you use a pronoun, the antecedent to which it refers should be clear and should be one noun only. Now consider the following group of sentences. In group 1, the students were chatting with each other and looking at their email. The teacher was not happy with this. This is a pronoun. It stands for something else. The something else that it stands for in this instance is the students chatting and looking at their email. This entire sentence is the antecedent for this pronoun, and as such, the writer is guilty of faulty pronoun reference because ideally the laws of English grammar say that the antecedent for a pronoun should be one noun only, not a whole sentence. Okay, here are a couple of other examples. It took Susie 3 hours to do her homework, which did not leave her any time to study for her math test. Here, the faulty pronoun is which. What did not leave her any time to study for her math test? The fact that it took her 3 hours to do the rest of her homework. So again, when you have a pronoun that refers to a whole clause, you have a reference problem because the word which should refer back to one noun only, and clearly here it does not. One more example. Meg wanted to go to the beach with her friends. Her mother thought it was not a good idea. What was not a good idea? The fact that Meg wanted to go to the beach with her friends. So again, the writer here is guilty of faulty pronoun reference because this pronoun it refers back to an idea expressed in a whole sentence, not just one word. Okay. One might argue with these examples that the intent of the writer is clear, that we do know what the teacher was not happy with, that we know that this is the student behavior. In the second sentence, we know what did not leave Susie enough time to study for her math test, and we know what her mother thought was a bad idea in terms of Meg's plans. However, strict rules of English grammar require that antecedents be as crisp and clear as possible, and that even if the intent of the writer is clear, such use of pronouns is sloppy and therefore incorrect. Now look at the second group of sentences where I think you would agree that the intent of the writer is not so clear. Okay, Jessie was late to class for the third day in a row, which worried the teacher. Okay, what worried the teacher? That Jessie was late to class for the third day in a row. Was it the fact that it was a third day? Was it the fact that there was repeated lateness? One could certainly argue that we don't know exactly what worried the teacher. Another example. Stephen tripped on the ice and broke his wrist and his ankle. He knew this would mean the end of his hockey season. What is this? Stephen tripped on the ice and broke a wrist and an ankle. This can refer to any of these pieces, or it can refer to the whole thing. This is an unclear pronoun because we don't know exactly which of these results was most significant. One more sentence. When Sarah heard that school would open late, she said, "They never give us a day off for snow." In this instance, who is they? Does she mean Miss Jones? Does she mean the school administration? Does she mean all the adults in her life? It could be anyone and everyone, because in this sentence there's no way of knowing who this they is. It's a very vague pronoun. Okay, now I've given you here a group of sentences in which there are pronoun reference errors, and I would like you to do your best to fix them and eliminate them. Let me just say one more thing, that when you have a vague pronoun, the simplest solution is to eliminate the pronoun and replace it with a phrase where the meaning is obvious. In the sentence with Jessie, an easy correction could be, the teacher was worried when Jessie came late 3 days in a row. We still may not know what it is that worried the teacher the most. Was it her tardiness on the last day or all 3 days? But in any event, you do not have a vague pronoun which. If the sentence reads, the teacher was worried after when Jessie was late to class for the third day in a row, you do not have a vague pronoun. Okay, so now go and look at the 5 sentences which follow and find the mistakes and please fix them. Thanks very much.